Excuse us.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Sorry.
Move it, asshole.
Oh, thank God, we got good seats.
Damn right we did. What's up? We got the drinks.
We got the popcorn.
And the candy.
I think we're ready, man.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. The bathroom here is nuts.
Oh my God, you made it. Yay.
It's about time, Nathan. Damn.
Shh, the movie's starting.
I'm Mally Moore. I'm Nathan Simmons, and I resent telling you that there was an echo.
And I just want to formally apologize right off the top as three white dudes covering this movie. But this is the Silver Linings playlist.
But thankfully not alone.
Yes.
And not, yeah, exactly.
But this is the Silver Linings playlist, a podcast that tries to find the silver lining in some of cinema's bleakest standings. And we're talking about Promising Young Woman.
Yeah.
Because we have to, because it certainly fits for the show.
Oh, yeah.
Because I added it to the list.
I don't like it. I don't
You gotta stop.
But as Nathan so eloquently put, we are not alone. We are joined by a woman, thank God. Please, Jennie, returning guest, say hello.
Hi. Nice to be back for another bummer movie.
Right?
Yeah, people that are tuning in for the first time, don't hate us, but we have some thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I've been like chomping at the bit to talk about this movie.
Oh no.
Yeah, Nathan, this is your first time seeing it. You did not like this movie. Am I wrong?
The group chat last night was heated.
It was
Really? Nathan, tell me why.
Oh, no. So here's the thing.
Careful.
I think that this is
Is it because you're just like a really nice guy?
No, not at all. No,
You just you just want to admit you're an asshole. Got it.
No.
No, Nathan's a bag of shit.
Okay.
Nathan is on his heels 30 seconds into this
No,
episode.
I didn't think I was gonna be called names like right off the bat for no reason.
No, you're fine. Please tell us. I mean, it's okay to not like this movie.
It's okay to not like the movie. It's fine.
We'll get into it. We can go.
This is gonna be so much fun.
I guess that's a fair point to start off with, because this is a very we talked about this last night. I don't want to say it's a debatable movie, but it is, as you and I were talking about, Nathan, this is kind of a minefield, because if you don't like it, you get called out for whatever reasons. But
yeah, I don't think that it's I think that it would be wrong to say this is a bad movie.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I think that there are a lot of clashing tones here that made me a little unsure about what kind of movie it is and what it's trying to accomplish. But I didn't hate this movie.
Okay. No, that's... Well, also, I know you're not coming from a place of hate by saying you don't like the movie.
Right.
Yeah, I know you well enough to know that you're not like...
An incel.
Yeah. But that's okay. You cannot like the movie. And listener, if you don't like this movie, that's fine too. And if you love it, that's also fine. It doesn't matter. It's just a movie. But we are talking about Promising Young Woman.
Man, we are playing it so safe on this episode so far.
Yeah. We are dodging and weaving as much as possible. But we are doing this movie. Mal, this was your pick because it's been 10 years since another Carey Mulligan movie, Drive, this year.
Oh, yeah.
And was there another reason why you put this on the slate for us to talk about?
Yes, because... Okay, I put this on the list before I had ever seen it.
Really?
Yes, because someone spoiled it for me.
Is that someone amongst us? Can you point them out, counselor?
Staring right at him.
Was it when I said this would be a great movie for your podcast?
Yep.
I do that
Really
all the
sorry.
time, Jennie. Don't worry.
Mally had already asked me, have you seen Promising Young Woman yet? And I was like, no, I haven't had a chance to, but I'm so excited for it. So I assumed that meant he had seen the movie.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
He had not.
That's fair.
Yeah, she was like, man, wasn't it crazy that she died at the end? I was like, fuck.
I'm sorry.
So I just threw this on the list. I was like, all right, well, Jennie, you have to be on the episode now. So, and then I watched it on a plane.
This is not a great plane movie, I would say.
I had a great time. The people behind me were confused.
Okay. Well, listener, if this is your first time tuning into the show, we are a podcast that likes to take movies such as the movie we're talking about this week, Promising Young Woman. They do not end on a happily ever after note. As Jennie pointed out, the main character fucking died at the end of this movie. And so, spoiler alert, post-spoiler alert, I guess. If you haven't seen it, I don't think knowing that happened will necessarily ruin the movie for you. Maybe it will, but I think the journey that Cassie, that the lead character, goes on is well worth watching at least once. It's been 10 years since Drive. Promising Young Woman was nominated for 4 Golden Globes, as we'll talk about. You know, Nathan, I don't want you to feel like you're on the outs on this episode, because there are some problems with this movie.
No,
but...
I have less to say after being called an asshole by someone that just met me for the first time.
No, you're not an asshole.
Nathan, I'm very sorry. I was quoting the movie.
Sure.
You're not an asshole. We know you're not an asshole.
Okay.
The movie, yeah, it's got some little bits and pieces here that I'm like, I don't know if this adds up necessarily. I agree with you, Nathan. But anyway, all love on this side of the podcast for sure. So, Promising Young Woman, Mally, what was your first time seeing it like now that you knew what the ending was going to be?
Well, I told you I watched it on a plane knowing what the ending was going to be.
Right, but what was your reaction? Like, how did you feel after the credits were rolling?
Get me off this fucking plane.
That's a good answer. Jenny, what about you? What was the first time you saw this movie like? What did you take away from it?
I think I saw it in preparation for, seeing all the movies before the Oscars. So I was really excited about it because there was so much hype around it. It had such good reviews. And I think Emerald Fennell is so talented. I loved the screenplay when I read it. So I really enjoyed the movie.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I will say I also enjoyed the movie, but I do see where there is some, like Nathan said, there is some clashing tones that we'll get into. But I think overall, I think this is a very good movie. I think it's now that we're talking about it and I'm reading through my notes here, I do realize there are a lot of parts of this movie that I just don't like, that on the first watch I didn't have a problem with at all. And I guess knowing the outcome, because I didn't know what this movie was really about before seeing it. I mean, I knew it was kind of this I don't know what the word is to describe Cassie that's not offensive, but I knew it was kind of this unhinged character.
Well, it's like the kind of all-consuming anger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I don't, I think what's important to note is that I don't think she's ill. She's definitely she's destructing in a different way.
Yeah. She is not well. And I think that's, a lot of people, I think on the surface when they watch this movie, they're like, oh, this is a feminist movie. And it is, but it's also a movie about revenge eating you alive from the inside.
Right.
And I will say that's one reason I like the Molly Shannon scene a lot, because it's like her telling her that, much less so than anyone else in the movie tries to, even her friends like Laverne Cox or even her parents. Yeah, we'll get into it. I guess let's get into the creation of the movie and some of the details surrounding the release of it. So the year is 2020. The director, as Jenny mentioned, is Emerald Fennell. The movie stars Carey Mulligan, Bo Burnham, Alison, Brie, Adam Brody. This is a long list, by the way. Connie, Britton, Jennifer Coolidge, Laverne Cox, Max Greenfield, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it Mintz-Plasse or Plasse? Does anyone know?
I think it's
McLovin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's McLovin. Sam Richardson, Molly Shannon, Clancy Brown, Chris Lowell, and Steve Monroe. Not mentioned and not even credited in this movie. Alfred Molina fucking crushes it in the one scene he's really in.
Oh, so good.
I couldn't really find a budget for this movie, but it did manage to gross $8.7 million worldwide. Currently has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. And as I said, it was nominated for 4 Golden Globes, including Best Screenplay, Best Actress for Carey Mulligan, Best Director, and Best Picture. I would say I don't think any of that is undeserved. 2020 was kind of a weird year for movies anyway.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anyway.
I will say, Dustin, how excited are you that technically...
It's under 2 hours?
Under 2 hours. It came close. I think it comes 6 minutes short.
Sure. Yeah, no, I didn't watch this movie, rewatch it until this morning. And when you said we're going to push back recording time a little bit, I was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to wake up and immediately put this on.
Also, you didn't even mention the fact that it won an Oscar, by the way.
That is true. Did win an Oscar for Best Screenplay, right? Best Original Screenplay?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember what else it was going up against. Does anyone want to look that up?
No, I'm pretty sure it was far and away the favorite
for sure.
Well, Nomadland I think might have been up for best screenplay.
Yeah.
But this is this is a better script.
I know Nomadland won Best Picture and Best Director.
Right.
Well, do we want to watch the trailer before we really get into the film?
Sure.
I mean, want to? Debatable. Are we gonna do it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That looks like Drive.
Yeah.
Good God almighty.
Or the club from Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
The strip club.
You'd think you'd learn by that age, right?
Please lay down. What are you doing?
God, I got so many notes
What are
on
you doing?
the decor of this movie.
Hey, I said, what are you doing?
Man, Adam Brody has just locked down the creepy dude role in the past few years.
He really has.
Where else does he play a creepy dude?
An episode of New Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Ready or Not, kinda.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's where she became the Joker right there, by the way.
You are so pretty. I am a nice guy.
Are you?
1, 2, 3, 4. I thought we had a connection.
Okay. How old am I? What are my hobbies?
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe that one's too hard.
Cassandra, we were in class together at Forest. You would have been a great doctor. What happened?
I left under unusual circumstances. You remember what happened, right? Why I dropped out. I'm not the only one.
God, I have this in my notes, but
We get
Alison Brie
like this
is like
all the
Benjamin
time.
Buttoning, like somehow getting younger as she gets older.
It's funny because I have a note that said she's finally aging into her Mad Men character.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Why do you guys have to ruin everything?
Oh, that was, dude, I got such a kick out of Sam Richardson in this movie.
Oh, Sam Richardson makes any scene he's in funnier, even if it's not a funny scene.
True.
Right.
When he runs away crying.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is? I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
Wow, they really did give away a lot in the trailer, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that trailer is just spoilerific, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a smart choice to populate this movie with comedic actors too,
Yes.
because I mean, like to sell the satire, and to also just because I mean they have an aura of, oh, I'm just a fun dude, you know what I mean? Which is
Yes.
like what really, I don't know, covers up the darkness. But yeah, anyway, I was just thinking about how great this cast is.
I thought the casting was absolutely amazing to have
Yes.
like every single character be like the quintessential good guy or
Yeah.
even nice girl. Like Alison Brie plays nice girls.
Yeah.
Even Connie Britton always plays like a nice lady.
Mhm.
Everyone always plays these chill, laid back characters. And turns out underneath that is something really shitty.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't even put the two together until this rewatch, but like, yeah, the casting director did a fantastic job of casting the men specifically for me in this movie for two reasons. One, they cast mostly likable people like Bo Burnham and McLovin because you don't think of them as bad guys.
Hey, don't sleep on Max Greenfield.
Yes. And,
That's my boy right there.
and you're so caught off guard, and that's kind of one of the points the movie is making, that
Right.
even likable people that you think couldn't possibly do terrible shit
Mhm.
oftentimes do. But it also, like, I mean, maybe this was on the first watch I had because I didn't know what this movie was at first, but I'm like, it kind of highlights how much you want to defend people like this because they are likable.
Mhm.
And, you know, that's a lot of what happens, like when people get canceled. Sometimes at first your gut instinct is like, no, that's someone I like.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
I don't believe they could have done.
I
Like,
also think it's also, I think maybe pointedly because that happens so much in the comedy scene.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like we
yes.
I don't know. I don't know if that was an intentional choice there, but yeah, that was something I kept thinking about through the movie.
There is an interview with the director where she did refer to this as a comedy.
It's a dark comedy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a dark comedy.
Yeah.
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 Especially at the end, it turns into very bad things really quickly in that
Yeah.
last 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that like that Dustin's onto, where he's talking about a first watch, because this was my first watch. I knew to expect, you know, something of a dark comedy, but I feel like I wasn't ready for like the whiplash that you get between certain scenes. Like sometimes I felt like I was watching a dark revenge movie, and sometimes it was Heathers, you know, which it was stuff like that. And I think both of those stories are valid and well told. It's just I felt myself like not being able to track certain character arcs.
Sure,
I don't know. I would love to watch this a second time, and I wish I had time before we recorded.
Yeah. It's like it goes from you were never really here to very bad things really quickly.
Sure.
Like, for example, if it came out tomorrow that Bo Burnham had done some truly awful shit, even if it was something like a Louis C.K. or something all the way to like a Chris D'Elia, I don't know. I can't say for sure because it's a hypothetical, but I feel like my gut instinct would be like, no, I love Bo. There's no way he could have done something like that.
Right.
But that's I think what the movie is trying to point out is like, that can't be your first reaction. Like, I think one of the few celebrities that like is truly gung-ho about that is Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Because like when the James Franco stuff came out, he immediately was
stopped
like
working with him.
Yeah, was not fucking with that at all. So I do think there is a shift. Like, one of my notes is I wish this movie would have came out like a decade ago, because like the impact I feel like would have been so much more like readily apparent.
I don't know that a studio would have listened to a writer director who pitched this 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
She almost didn't get this one made. Like,
I know.
Yeah, a lot of the studios did not want to make this movie. They didn't understand what it was trying to do, you know? So I guess I skipped one segment before we actually get into the movie. We're just so excited to talk about it. But drink of the film.
Oh, God.
I went back and forth with a couple different ideas. I mean, there is a drink called the Mulligan that would have been a great choice, but ultimately, I just went with coffee.
Coffee was spit in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just went with coffee liqueur, and you get an attractive woman to spit in your cup. That's the drink of the film.
Perfect.
You just get some Baileys, find a beautiful woman.
Did you spit in your own cup,
I
Dustin?
did, because my wife's not here, so I did have to spit in my own cup. But
oh, man.
I just imagine like DC fucking walking like through Burbank. Just like, will someone spit in my coffee?
I was sitting next to the panhandle guys that have the cups, and I'm like, mine's filled with coffee where theirs is filled with change. And I'm like, can someone just spit in this real quick?
Right.
How mad were you when someone threw a quarter into your coffee cup?
I'm just tainted my beautiful Baileys in my cup. No.
My first note of this movie is, can you change your Uber destination in the app like that?
I think you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a thing?
I think you can.
Man, I gotta Uber more. I didn't know that.
I've only Ubered while drunk, so I don't know all of the options.
I think my first note is probably different than your first note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, my first note goes back even further to, is there anything worse than khakis? Because all these dudes on the dance floor are in khakis, and I'm like, these are awful. Khakis are the bane of the lower body half.
I don't know, man. Like, you get me a dude with a cute butt and some khakis, I'm in.
It's awful.
That's a Freddy versus Jason callback. You're welcome, audience.
The guy from Freddy vs. Jason, yeah, you get him in some khakis, yeah.
Technically, my first note was about Adam Brody being a creepy dude, but we already talked about that.
My first note was that, according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 81% of women and 43% of men report experiencing sexual harassment or assault in their lifetime. That was my first note.
Well, see, that's just diverse research is all that is.
Exactly. That's just research.
I feel like that's a low statistic for some reason.
Well, that's what's been, that's reported.
Sure.
The statistic is reported.
Sure. People that are also willing to answer that question, but that's soul crushing. So I want to bring the levity back up already because I don't want to think about that, but
it's another thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
My next note right after that was the question, do men feel the same simmering anxiety while watching this film?
There's a difference, I think. In fact, I think the guy at the end there, it's a beautiful line. Like, Nathan, I don't know if you felt the same way because you had some issues with the dialogue, but I do think the line at the end where he's like, that's every guy's worst nightmare is being accused of something like that.
Oh, no, that line's great.
Yes.
Her response is incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what do you think every woman's worst nightmare is? I think that is the log line of the film pretty much.
Absolutely.
And that is, it's so fucking hard to talk about because it's like, of course I don't want women to feel that way. And then, the guys that get accused of something like that turn out to be innocent is almost negligible. That's not even worth talking about.
Right.
But it's like, that is for some reason like the first place the mind goes to if you're a guy, I think. Maybe I'm speaking for people here, but I don't know. It's so this life is fucked. It's my response to that.
Yeah.
To the whole question this movie, the whole message this movie is trying to put forward is everything is terrible.
Well, but the question is, what is the message of this movie? Is the message that revenge pays off, or that it doesn't pay off?
That's a great question.
Is it that you can get revenge, but at what cost?
And I think that's a question that becomes a little more muddled because of the epilogue, which I don't think was in the original screenplay, right?
It was not.
No, the original screenplay ends with her death on the bed, and it just ends there.
And I agree with you. I think that it makes it if that's what you're saying, I think it makes it a little more difficult to actually suss out what the message is meant to be.
I mean, my note for, I guess we can talk about the ending because that's kind of the whole point is
fuck the rest of the movie, we get into the end, let's go.
Well, this is gonna be the shortest episode ever of the podcast, but no, I guess my question is, to answer your question with a question, Jenny, is what is the message of the movie? Right, because I feel like there's multiple things it could be saying.
So we're just going to play hot potato with this question is what we're going to do, huh?
Well, because it's the movie is ultimately about revenge. Right. And how it, like we talked about, how it eats away at you and it's never satisfying. But it's also about believe all women. And it's also about, it's unfortunate that this movie has to end with the main character dying in order for justice to be served. And that's so much more depressing, I feel like, than just her being killed by the rapist dude. Am I wrong? Does anyone else feel that way?
I genuinely don't know what the message of the movie is supposed to be.
Okay. Okay. It's almost like a mental minefield I'm having to play here.
Well, and that's what I mean when I say that I didn't dislike this movie, but I did find it hard to sometimes track what it's saying. You know what I mean?
Well, what do you think it's saying, Nathan?
Oh, I think that it's saying a very, a very potent story about how things can eat away at us over years when there's injustices that have gone unaddressed. And also it's talking about how, the people who were left behind are, after a tragedy are also broken. I mean, her family constantly refers to how often she's kind of just disappeared from them. There's that incredible moment where Clancy Brown says to her, it's good to have you back, I think. What is he? He
says, Nina was like a daughter to us.
We've missed you.
We miss her so much, but we missed you too.
Yes. And it's, I think it's tracking how she wants to make things better and is constantly trying to smush the world into a shape that fits. You know what I mean? She can't make it better, and I think that's the tragedy of the film.
My interpretation of what she was going through was that she was clearly incredibly driven. She was, she went to med school. Yes. She had wanted to be a doctor since she was a kid, so she has that energy and that work ethic. But this traumatic thing happened, and it seems like it really stunted her emotional growth. Yeah, and she just got stuck there. That's why throughout the movie, she's dressed in a way that infantilizes her. She eats foods in ways that are childlike. I think Molly Shannon even says to her, don't be such a child, or this is childish. And I think it's just supposed to show that if you get stuck with something, you can't let that happen. You have to be able to move on. You don't have to forget about it.
Right.
But I think that's, to Nathan's point, I think that's kind of conflicting because, yeah, she only eats candy and drinks sugary drinks and stuff like that throughout the movie, and she dresses in these very pink and floral outfits and stuff. But
you just described yourself, DC.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah, for sure. But no, I think it does get a little conflicting because I feel like what her character is it would be much more dressed down, kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that's in favor of the aesthetic of the movie or what it says about the character, but it does kind of conflict a little bit for me.
I think it's also the idea of, the title is Promising Young Woman, the idea that you have so much promise.
Yeah.
And that's how we describe women, especially young women who, suffer from sexual assault and then their lives get off track. They had such a future ahead of them and it gets derailed. And I think it also sort of parallels her story about Nina and how Nina was this amazing person and had so much life to her. But then after what I can only think of his name in Veronica Mars, Piz. What is his character's name.
Oh my God, that's who that was.
Yeah. That's what makes it so much wilder, because obviously
Oh my
they
God.
even have that whole storyline with him in Veronica Mars.
Right.
But what is his character's name?
Al?
Al.
Who are we talking about?
Al.
Oh, the rapist dude. Yeah.
But anyway, so Al, she says like once, Al attacked Nina, her whole self became absorbed by him and his life and his, existence, which is what kind of happens to Cassie as well. After what happened to Nina, her whole life becomes consumed with Al and what happens to him. And even after in the movie, when she dies, the storyline shifts to focusing and centering the men who did this to her.
No, that's interesting that's where you took the title, because I took it as kind of a like tongue-in-cheek reference to the promising young man like theory.
Oh, the Brock Turner case.
Yes, I was just gonna say like the Brock Turner shit.
That's what the judge called him, right?
That's why he only got 6 months or whatever.
Jesus.
And for his assault, and he was like, "Oh, he's a promising young man. We don't want this to ruin." I mean, that's exactly what Connie Britton says in her scene. And it is interesting that like all these characters do the same thing. They all immediately, as soon as they realize what Cassie's agenda is, they get on the defensive, except for Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
And when you pair that with like Alfred Molina, I truly do believe him when he's like, I will never forgive myself. Yeah. And when Cassie forgives him, I believe that too.
I also love the ambiguity of what the man outside the house was meant to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's that whole sequence is incredible.
I had a note that was like, where is she finding all these like shady dudes? But then as I wrote it down, I was like, it's probably not that hard.
The club.
Craigslist, my dude.
She goes to these clubs.
Yeah.
Like,
Good point. Yeah, that's what I said. The moment I wrote that note down, I was like, actually, no, that tracks. It makes sense.
What I was saying is, like, when you pair that with the reveal of Ryan, that he was there at Nina's assault, and he demands she forgives him. He says, "You have to forgive me. You have to forgive me." I'm like, I don't know. It's like, what do you do with a character like Alfred Molina, and then what do you do with a character like Ryan, who, by all accounts, are both guilty in the same right, just as much as Al was, but Alfred Molina, where he truly has had time to reflect on it, and he is, I genuinely think he's remorseful about it. I mean, I think the movie does a pretty good job then of like, should I feel the same way about Ryan? And then they immediately puncture it with him calling her a fucking failure. I'm like, oh, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, even before he calls her a fucking failure, his immediate response is basically like, you don't think I'm a bad person. And then he pleads, he's like, but I love you. And he immediately turns angry. He shows absolutely no remorse. He doesn't acknowledge. He's like, we were kids. They keep saying we were kids, and
she even makes a comment about that too.
Yeah, like it wasn't until this time that I watched it that I was like, wait a minute, like they're in their second year of med school. They're like 24, 25 minimum, 24, 25 at this point.
Yeah, she turns 30 in this movie.
Exactly. This was only 5 years ago. It's not like, oh, this thing happened like 10 years ago. Like, no, these are full adults who again are in medical school, so they are at a place where they are learning how to save lives. They are at a place where if we were, in a pandemic, they would be graduating early to save lives. They we trust these people with their judgments. The idea that's like, oh, we were just kids, we didn't know what we were doing, is bullshit.
Yeah, and the movie goes out of the way to, mention a few times that people like Ryan have lives in their hands all the time.
Yeah.
And exactly.
Well, that is weird too. It's like all these people, it's a good idea to make all these people doctors, because it's like, do we want to take doctors out of the world because of stuff like this? Things like that is why I do think this is a pretty great screenplay, because it's not this is an entirely gray movie. Like all the areas are gray for the most part. I mean, other than the obvious ones like don't fucking sexually assault people,
right?
But I love that you do get conflicts with how you're supposed to take with certain characters. I mean, some of them it's easy, like Neil or Adam Brody's character Jerry, like obvious scumbags, right? And then they drop very subtle little hints about Ryan early on to really drive home that this is not a good dude, no matter how much you want to like him, because it's played by a likable character or whatever. Like one of his first lines to her is, "Why are you working here in this coffee shop?" It is they play it coy where he kind of like realizes in the moment, oh, that was not a good thing to say, but that little moments like that really reveal that this is not a good dude at all.
I will say, on this second viewing, the Ryan character comes off a lot
worse,
pushier
yes,
in his like pursuance of her than he did like on the first watch.
Like she spits in his coffee. The next time he comes back, he insists on asking her out again. He's like, I genuinely like you. It's like, how? It's just like when she's with McLovin and she's like, what are my hobbies? Like, how old am I? Like, he knows her name because they went to med school together, but like, how can you say you genuinely like someone you haven't seen in 5 years? You don't know where, like, you don't know anything about her.
And I clocked that, like, one of the things that I think is really clever is that this movie weaponizes tropes that we see in other romantic films.
Yeah, that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, and I think that, like, you're absolutely right. The thing that should be a red flag immediately is that Ryan is acting like the protagonist in a romantic comedy. I mean, we always talk about movies like fucking Jerry Maguire, where if this guy pulled this shit in real life, we'd call the police on him.
Yes.
You know, like, stop, like, chill out, dude.
Well, the big red flag for me, I mean, obviously I knew what his character was like on this rewatch, but
him singing in the pharmacy, yeah, that makes sense.
But when he comes in the second time and he does that whole I'm genuinely attracted to you, but then he says, would you be interested in a friendship where I'm secretly pining for you the whole time? I'm like, that is somehow simultaneously, it can't be taken as a sweet gesture, but it's also harassment.
In a different movie, yes.
In a different movie, yeah. But even then, like, looking at rom-coms through, I guess, like a realist's lens, it's like, no, that's like real creepy. Because you're just hoping that this person will, I don't know, get worn down enough to be with you.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. It depends on how the person hearing those words are receiving it, right? For them, that could be harassment, but it also could be like, oh, it is a very sweet, like Cassie in the moment takes it as, oh, that's a sweet gesture. And that makes it, I mean, again, when you talk about the message of the movie, I don't know what the movie's trying to say when it comes to the reveal that Ryan was at Nina's assault. Like, I don't think my jaw has dropped harder in a movie like that, because I genuinely didn't see it coming. And then I'm like,
well, especially the way they reveal that too, with him being like, what? I wasn't there. And then you hear his voice. You're just like, God.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm not going to lie. I forgot about that. I forgot that happened until I rewatched it. I was like, I know this isn't going to work out, but I don't remember why.
Basically, the only people that don't let her down really are her parents, Laverne Cox, and Molly Shannon. Like, all her friends, all of the male people in her life other than her dad are garbage people, and
which is kind of another good casting thing, because maybe it's because of Pet Sematary too, but I expected Clancy Brown to just, like, I don't know, eat someone's face or something.
No, I think the best thing of the best decision with those parents is that they're genuinely trying their best. Like, and it helps that they got two of, like, the most likable character actors that you could possibly wrangle together.
Minus the face eating and Pet Cemetery too.
Plus, it doesn't hurt that Clancy Brown is slowly morphing into a buff version of Jon Stewart, which I thought was fantastic.
What do you think the significance was of the frozen in the 70s decor of the house? Is that supposed to also...
I wondered that too.
I mean, we never see them outside of the house. I don't think we ever see them outside of pajamas, except for when Bo Burnham goes over there for dinner.
Yeah.
We don't see them doing anything. Is it supposed to be like she's frozen in time because they're also frozen in time, or
I think it's the opposite. I think they're frozen because she is.
Okay.
Like, they're stunted because she is.
I like that.
That's not bad.
That's what it means.
Because when Alison Brie comes to show her the video, they're in that gaudy fucking pink room and everything. And I think that's to play into Cassie's personality, right? Because, like, the whole movie she's in these pink outfits and these yellow and blues and everything. And I think that's to offset the reveal that's about to happen. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's an awful moment happening in a very adorable place.
Yes.
And
Have you guys seen, I don't know why this made me think of it, but I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called, like, Lunch Date or something. It's a short film with Sarah Paulson. Hey, this is Dustin just chiming in real quick to say that short film is actually called After School Special from 2011, if you're interested.
No, I don't think so.
I don't want to give it away, but I feel like it does somehow kind of relate into this. I guess I'll just go ahead and spoil it for you guys. And listener, if you haven't seen it,
well, fuck.
Sorry, but I gotta bring this up because it's very relevant. The short film is like a woman with her kid at like a indoor playground, and she's like watching her kid play and everything, and this guy come up and sits down next to her, and from what I remember, it almost plays into like the guy realizes that the woman is like abusing the child, kind of.
Okay.
But then the reveal, it's almost like a fucking Ari Aster thing. It's like
the kids abusing her.
Yes.
Fucking
yes.
Really?
And I'm like, it does the same thing where it's in like this very joyful, playful environment, and when that reveal comes, it's earth shattering.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. There's something to it with that pink room that Alison Brie reveals that. But I'm sorry to ruin that short film, but it is a genuinely good little short film, and it's so fucking creepy. But yeah, I think there is something to the pinkness and the vibrancy of everything in this movie. Of like, maybe it could also go into the notion of like things can appear rosy, like the rosy colored glasses, and then things are terrible, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Completely switching gears here. If I'm like at the hospital in the waiting room, I got my sick kid with me.
I know what you're going to say.
And my doctor walks out and makes a joke about having herpes.
Yeah.
I'm going to a different hospital.
I wrote that down too.
A pediatrician too.
Well, he's pulling shit like that the whole time. He makes that joke. Like, he goes behind the counter when he comes to ask her out again. I'm just like, get the fuck out from behind that counter.
He's like, I have herpes. Hey, Mr. Thompson. Hey, little buddy, you ready for you to get your tonsils out? No herpes, man.
He drinks coffee that someone spit in. And I feel like, again, we are watching this through a pandemic lens. It's from a place of a pandemic where it's like, oh, you have a death wish.
Yeah, for sure. No, Bo Burnham's character is like, I love the characterization of him because he plays it so straight laced and so well. But he is genuinely just a bad person. Like, we all have like pet names and stuff for our significant others and stuff when we have them, but like
Satan,
when he calls her like a miserable asshole and a stupid bitch and stuff, it's like it's kind of stuff creeping up to the surface,
right?
Of like what this dude's really about. So
I don't know. I mean, that's what I call you.
Yeah,
and I mean, you know, we get. I mean, we're doing fine,
and we love each other. So yeah,
the way he says after Laverne Cox makes that comment about aspirants in the coffee grounds, fucking kills me.
Also, let's go around the horn. Do we think he has killed any kids? Because I thought that was a pretty great moment.
Not like on purpose.
Not like intentionally.
I don't know. Bo Burnham might have some tiny skeletons in his closet. Who knows?
I mean, if he's out there killing kids, like one of our guests from our previous episode would probably go for him.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe Bo Burnham is Freddy Krueger in disguise. We don't know.
I back that casting. Oh my god, he could do a Freddy Krueger musical
with Bo Burnham.
Yeah,
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
A Nightmare on Elm Street musical. Come the fuck on, guys. Get on board.
Nathan, what were you gonna say?
I felt like Laverne Cox was underused in this.
Yeah.
Like that's the one character that I just couldn't like. I don't know. I wish she's so talented, and I wish that she wasn't just like the best friend. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know. Like it felt like a lot of the scene. She's great. She's great in it.
I kind of like assumed that there must have been more to that, and that it got cut just to keep the movie under 2 hours.
That's kind of what I
there
thought too.
There was like the drive, like the revenge story drive plus the love story drive were so difficult to sort of keep track of those two tones that like a best friend / her work life storyline might just be too much.
Well, and that's my question is, I mean, you've all seen this more than once. Like it feels like a movie that rewards repeat viewings.
You pick up on
I feel like
things.
I had a hard time tracking this movie, and I like you said, the tones like jumping back and forth between kind of the 2 or 3 movies that this is. Like, I mean, I don't mean that in like a negative way. It's just that everybody seems to be going through their own movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, I talked about this during the trailer when we were watching it, but like, yeah, everyone's got something strange going on. Like, why does Adam Brody have he's 30 years old and he's got fucking chili pepper Christmas lights around his bed.
Right.
Fucking Neil has got beaded curtains.
Neil's apartment was so accurate. His
Spot on.
entire character was so fucking East LA.
Sure.
Where I remember the first time I saw
Every
it.
shitty film guy I've ever met.
Absolutely. Like, oh, the Italian film posters are like, I'm writing a book about
the Fellini poster. Yeah.
the Fellini poster, what it's like to be a guy right now. The like plants everywhere and the guitar. I am describing Mally's apartment. aren't I?
You're in my apartment where there are plants everywhere. So you go ahead and back up, Jenny. Back up.
His dialogue might as well be like a reply guy, like put on paper. Like his, why do you have to wear makeup? Like, you don't know how difficult it is. Yeah.
I wrote that down too. I was like, there is no winning in the makeup conversation. Like the best thing you can do is just shut up. Like
that was what really like that was one of the reasons why I kind of struggled with this movie when I first started. Like when it was I feel like I didn't line up with what this movie was doing until maybe an hour in. That's why I want to watch it again. But like the this scene, I was like, I can't tell if they're going like full on satire or they're trying to be a little cheeky or
it's definitely cheeky.
Oh yeah,
I think the dialogue from the male characters, because they all do it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're so pretty. I feel such a connection to you. And then of course when she gives him the whole "what's my name?"
The repeated dialogue is brilliant. It shows how similar they all are.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's difficult to call it like cheeky or satire because while it is both cheeky and satirical, it is also so accurate that it feels like it's like where it's like, yeah, that's it's almost commentary like, that's how absurd every one of these situations many women have been in are. It feels fake.
Right.
It feels fake. It's like when I'm from Chicago originally, but I live in LA. Whenever I go home for Christmas, I tell my friends from LA, they're like, how cold is it? And I'm like, it's 20 below, and they laugh. And I go, no, that's how cold it is. It is so cold you think I'm making it up.
Right.
And so much of this movie is like, no, like this is what it's like to be a woman, and it's so horrific that you think it's being made up.
Right.
So what you're saying, JD, is when it comes to weather, we should believe all women for sure.
Yes, believe all women. If women tell you that they're hot, it's hot. If they tell you they're cold, they are cold.
Copy that.
No, I think it's satire coming. It's the idea of like when reality becomes so ridiculous that satire can't even keep up. It's
like around the election last year when they were like an episode of Veep literally happened in real life.
Sure.
They're all doing the same thing that we know, like guys do this. Like when Adam Brody first brings her back to his apartment and he's like, let me pour you a drink. First of all, she's clearly smashed and does not need a drink. Second of all, he pours his a fucking shot glass size and then fills hers up to the brim.
Well, he also originally offers her a beer and then pours the biggest cocktail of all time.
Yes, I noticed that too, yeah. And then fucking Neil forces her to snort cocaine, and then when she won't do it, he rubs it into her fucking gums. It's like, Jesus.
He puts his hands in her mouth.
Yeah. This is not a COVID-safe movie
this
at
is
all.
Not a COVID-safe movie. I do also want to say that it's not just the men. The women react in ways that are also just so accurate. Alison Brie's character is...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How dare this movie make me hate Alison Brie? How dare it?
The thing that I loved so much was like how accurate the fake friend is whenever they would say like, oh, you looks good.
So cute.
She says when she first shows up, you look amazing. I almost didn't recognize you. Is such like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, this is really bringing back flashbacks to last time I saw Dustin in person.
Right.
but then Carey Mulligan has the grade of, oh, you look exactly the same. I thought that was great because it's such a backhanded compliment.
Both Alison Brie and Bo Burnham have those like microaggressions.
Yes.
Like, she has the you look great. He has the why are you working here?
Yeah, Alison Brie, that's one of my... I do love her in this movie, but I do feel like she kind of plays in too well to Cassie's plans. Because, I don't know. I feel like if somebody called me out of the blue that I hadn't seen in 5 years, invited me to dinner, and then I woke up in a hotel room with a stranger, that would not be the first person I call.
There are parts of Cassie's plan that are so
Joker-esque.
So much of her plan rely too much on like people being dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, people's reactions to her. Like,
and I compare her plan in this movie to the Jokers in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
I was gonna say Silva and Skyfall, but
that's
like,
too.
It is literally like. It's like, it is. I have to know to the second how this person is going to react.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely need to know exactly that this teenage girl would definitely be willing to give me her phone.
Oh,
Was just
my
about to say
God.
that.
That scene's so scary.
Not just like get in the car with me, but then give me her phone.
That's the most unbelievable part of the film, that a teenager willingly gave up their phone.
A teenage
I
girl
call
is not
bullshit.
giving up her phone.
No.
No, my one big issue with this movie is when Alison Brie's character shows back up.
Oh, you think so?
Like, well, it's the timing of it.
Yeah.
It almost seems like, hey, I'm here to, move the plot along because nothing's happened in 10 minutes.
I mean, theoretically, it's been weeks because Carey Mulligan and
Right.
Bo Burnham's relationship has progressed. She's like happy. She's
Right.
moved on. She threw away her revenge notebook and everything.
Right.
But then, yeah, she just shows up and is like still just as disheveled as she would have been the morning after.
it took her that long to just go to her house.
Right.
Yeah, left 19 calls.
Yeah.
Is that the message of the movie? That like when you're suddenly ready to move on from a tragedy, that it will always just find its way back to you? Because like she is at that point, she doesn't know about the video. She's happy with Ryan.
Yeah.
She's thrown away her notebook and everything's great. But then that one thing comes back around and it's
Yeah, there's always that shitty friend that's gonna show up and ruin the good time.
I was gonna say the message is you will never be able to get over something like this unless you become something like an Alfred Molina. But even that, what do you do with a guy like that? Like
Massively depressed?
Well, he comes forth like one of my favorite lines of the movie is when Cassie shows up and she says, "It's your day of reckoning," and you expect him to be like all the other dudes that are like, "What's going on?" And he just says, "I've been waiting," and I'm like, "Fuck, man!" Like that's incredible, and it's like, but still, that dude is just as broken. Like I almost expected to hear a single gunshot when she walked out of the house.
The flowers are dead in his house.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he's frozen.
Yes. But I'm like, what is the movie trying to say?
Let
like,
it go, let it go. No. Okay. Whistle, whistle, whistle.
What
is happening?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You said Frozen, I started singing. Move on.
Oh, okay.
Funny story, Alfred Molina married to other Jennifer Lee, who wrote and directed Frozen.
Oh, wow. That is
son
a
of a
nice little
bitch.
connection.
Recently married as of last month.
Good for him.
That could be a good pick-me-up for anybody.
Yeah.
That's a good connection.
Fun fact.
I like the other Jennifer Lee.
Right.
She's the good one.
You just put yourself on the same, Jenny, you're great, but you just put yourself on the same, calm down. Calm down.
Look, all I know is sometimes when I go to Disney, if it's a security guard who is not regularly there, they look at my license, they don't really know either of us apart, and I get better parking.
But my thing was the movie's in some scenes is written very broadly, in some scenes it's very direct, and I think that it's interesting when it chooses to be direct, but I also look, I mean, when she's killed, that scene is so unsettling and horrifying, incredibly acted, and it's immediately followed by Max Greenfield basically doing Schmidt from New Girl, doing big, broad, rubbernecked reactions.
It turns into very bad things right after that.
I'm going to give you that one. I love Max Greenfield, but
I do too.
There's a little too much Schmidt in his performance in this movie for me.
And there's a few moments like that where I'm like, I love the way this is written. I don't love the way it's being executed. Like there's times where it's written like Heathers, but shot like a prestige drama complete with classical music. And then there's other times where it's written as a prestige drama, but it's being the dialogue is being delivered by, Sam Richardson, squealing.
Yeah.
It's
very,
I don't know. Sometimes it didn't work for me.
Hey, you tread lightly on any Sam Richardson scenes because
I love
those
Sam
are all
Richardson.
Gold.
Yeah. No, we love Sam Richardson.
I got whiplash from this a few times.
Sure.
I'll give you that.
And I sometimes felt like the dialogue was a little too just text instead of subtext. I felt like there were times where it was a little almost obvious. I don't know. It's so hard to put a finger on it.
I felt like some of the dialogue can be obvious, but I would also say that almost everything that every one of these people, everything that all of the characters around Cassie, everything they say, I have heard in one place or another.
Sure.
And as much as I hate to even say that I've had conversations with women that have gone exactly the way the conversation with Alison Brie has gone.
And maybe that's what it is I don't want to believe that people are like this.
I think that's what it is. It is a harsh mirror to look at.
Sure. And maybe it does come back to it being delivered by and large by comedians.
By and large by likable comedians who play characters that are also likable. Like these actors are likable and their characters are.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what do you do with the opposite of that? Like, if you can't play it too deftly, because if you have unlikable characters in it, then you're on, there is no gray area. It's just, at that point, it's a PSA.
Well, and that's where I keep coming back to, like, I don't think this movie was bad. I think I had a hard time meeting it on its own terms occasionally. Like, there were moments where I had to, like, kind of stop and just try to figure out what I was supposed to be getting from it. And again, some of that might just be impatience as well, because the movie does reveal most of its cards by the end.
Oh, it takes a long time for you to put together what the movie is about.
Sure.
Really, about what happened. Like, it's not really until the Alison Brie dinner or like the meeting with Connie Britton that I'm like, oh, now I know what this movie is about.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, if something, even if it doesn't always work for me, I don't want to devalue the work or what people are getting from it, because I do think that this movie has very important things to say. It's just, it occasionally was very muddled for me.
Well, I think also deciding to make it a comedy at times, it does kind of blur the message a little bit. But
sure.
I'm also thinking of, like, it's interesting technique in storytelling to not make her like a Patrick Bateman type of, like, straight up murdering these guys that she's bringing home from clubs.
Right. But she's not murdering. And, like, that's what one of my questions is are these men learning anything?
I was just about to say, I don't think they are.
Or are they just getting a little freaked out? Like, what are they actually afraid of?
I wondered that as well.
That's 100%.
I do wish he had murdered McLovin.
She was bullying him so hard. It was great.
But it's also when one of the things that she says to Sam Richardson outside the club, where she's like, there are other women who do this. And, like, there's a woman who has a pair of scissors and implies that, like, she castrates men.
Sure.
And that's what kind of freaks. She's like, so go ahead and do this again. And it really brings up the question is, like, is that what keeps men from raping? Is it fear of violence? Is that the only thing, that the idea of just teaching you to, like, be a better person is impossible?
Honestly, I think... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish this movie would have came out like a decade ago, because I do think originally that was maybe a lot of guys' thoughts, probably mine included, of, like, the big reason you don't do something like that is not necessarily because you want to be a good guy, but because you don't want the ramifications of what could happen. And thankfully, I think we're all learning, no, this, like, when you come from a point of, like, the thing we used to tell women is, like, don't go out late at night, don't dress, provocatively, don't do this. And it's finally coming back around to, well, also just don't fucking rape people. Like, it's not hard.
Right. Well, we were just talking about the Woodstock 99 documentary, recently. And there's a moment where one of the organizers of the festival literally says something along the lines of, don't go to a rock show dressed like this if you don't want something to happen. And it's just, it's this insane, like, how the fuck can you possibly have that in your brain?
Yeah.
How can you say that and not immediately get struck by lightning?
Well, I think we're all raised by boomers or Gen Xers that were raised by boomers, and that was their idea. It was like, we're still somehow, like, 60, 70 years after the 50s, we're still kind of training our brains to be like, no, it's not, it's not a man's world, and men don't run things and men don't make these decisions. And when men do something, they should also be punished just as much as a woman does for anything they do. And it's taking a long time. And that's why I say I think this movie is just a little too late to get that message across of, like, if you do bad things, you deserve.
But again, I don't think I think that this movie is being made exactly when it needs to be made, like, and by the person who should have made it. I agree with you though. Like,
I'm not sure what 10 years ago that
I'm just picking a number out of my ass. Basically, what I'm saying is,
I'm saying you make this movie in the 90s starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm watching that movie.
I'm saying I wish this movie would have came out sooner, because as I was growing up, I grew up in the South. I grew up in a very conservative mind household, and I heard that all the time. I didn't have sisters or anything, but I always heard.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know that is being taught in a lot of conservative.
Sure, exactly. That's my point.
There's like that in a conservative, but I mean, I'm not sure that in a conservative household today that what kids are being taught is any different than that.
You might be right, but what I'm saying is, now that we are kind of getting to an age where like everything is readily available. Opinions are, I mean, we all have social media. We all put opinions up and stuff, and everything is instantly, you know, there's consequences immediately for things you say and things you do that I wish I would have, you know, it's partially on me, but it's also partially on the way I was raised of like, don't fucking do shit to women that they don't want you to fucking do to them.
Right.
Luckily, I've never done that, I would like to think, but
I don't know that things are that different.
they might not be, but my whole point
It was not that long ago that there were like congressional hearings about whether or not insurance companies should be covering birth control.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
And people were testifying, like men were, they were like, well, why would you be on birth control? Like maybe you should be less slutty. Like that's
Sure.
That was not long ago.
No, it's not. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Texas was literally like Texas was literally offering, you know, considering offering bounties for people to report someone seeking an abortion. Like
Yeah.
that's just within the last year.
I think I'm also, because I'm in California and things may look a little differently when I go outside than it does for other people. But I'm also thinking like,
well, yeah, because it's on fire.
yeah, that's true. The Brett Kavanaugh fucking hearing and everything like that. I'm like, I wish this movie would have came out before then, because it would have been so fucking prescient to like, you know, it's, I don't know. I just wish I would have known.
But even that, even if the movie had come out, like Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed, like he's a Supreme Court judge.
I know. It's I get so fucking heated thinking about it, but it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I just wish more people knew this. It feels like it's a no fucking brainer, but somehow we're still fucking dealing with it in 2021. Maybe it's just me coming to realization that, again, everything is fucking terrible and I'm such a pessimist.
Like I said, I think the movie is just an uncomfortable mirror to look in.
I'm fine looking in the mirror. I'm definitely fine looking in the mirror and having this conversation.
A metaphorical mirror, Dustin, not the actual mirror in your apartment.
I guess my point is just I wish we could have had this conversation sooner and maybe things would have been a little bit better than they are now going forward. I mean, things are still bad. I mean, the fucking Taliban is back in control of Afghanistan and rolling back a lot of the rights women have. Rights that women have.
Okay. At first, I was like, "Where's he going with this?"
I promise you guys, I'm on point with this shit. Just give me a minute to get there.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody else talk.
Can we talk about the score for a minute?
I love this music.
It's pretty good.
When we were when I was trying to remember how I had accidentally spoiled this movie for Allie, I was looking up previous text messages and I had texted him, apparently he kills her, piss fucking kills her, what the fuck? And I followed that up with, which is the best needle drop, the unnerving cover of Toxic or Something Wonderful from the fucking King and I.
What a wild needle drop.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Dude, I love that orchestral cover of Toxic.
It's great.
Especially during the pandemic, I would spend hours watching orchestral covers of like pop and rock songs because, you know,
Had the time.
And there are hundreds of orchestral covers of Toxic on YouTube. They're all not that good.
No, the closest I think was like the Vitamin String Quartet, but it's a lot more like literal, and then this one kind of plays with the melody.
This one, plays with the melody and like throws in those like sharp string stabs and oh my. Once she arrives at the bachelor party and that score kicks in, I'm like, fucking yes.
It's so good.
So we worked on this movie at the last trailer house I was out, but I never got to watch it. I was just seeing the finished pieces that were coming out. I heard this song so many times and I never got tired of it. Like it was in almost every single piece we did, but I'm like, I'm loving this trend of like, let's make trailerized versions of music. Like
sure,
it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It can really work well for me.
It is really weird when you go see a movie and like 4 of the trailers do that though. Like that happened to me recently when I went to go see Green Knight. So of course it's all like A24 trailers.
Yeah.
And then it's all like
slow
jazz
songs.
covers.
Yeah. That was my Green Knight experience for the trailers as well.
Is there anything else that we really want to get into? I mean, I have a bunch of little stuff. Like, I think it's insane.
I have one note about the wedding scene at the end.
Yeah.
And it was, hey, kids, fuck off with your drums.
Oh, no kidding.
That's when it felt like this is supposed to take place in Ohio. And I was like,
is it?
Yeah.
This takes place in fucking Ohio?
Yes.
Then Bo Burnham is Freddy Krueger. It's
He is.
It's supposed to take place
This
in
is
Ohio.
all
And
coming together.
when that wedding happened, I was like, okay, this is not
Nobody can dance in
happening in
Ohio.
suburban Ohio.
No.
Yeah.
This movie takes place in a... Why? Why does this take place in Ohio?
I don't know.
How did you figure that out? Because I didn't know it. I didn't notice.
I think it's either in the screenplay or she talks about it in an interview.
Okay.
Like, I just assumed it was Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean,
because
they filmed it in
looks
Los
like
Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yes, they filmed it in Los Angeles, but it's not Los Angeles.
Gotcha.
That's not fucking Ohio. I've been to Ohio.
Yeah.
It's shittier than that.
The ending is incredible, but I it's another one of those things where I'm like, okay, for all of these things to happen at the right exact time, it's she has to have like planned this to the second, but also that's one of those bits of like magical realism almost where I'm like, okay, if we're going for the satire, this is exactly how. I mean, you know, it's Heathers. Like you blow up the school.
Yeah, I think I can suspend my disbelief enough that all of this stuff comes into play. The only part that I'm like, that's movie magic, as you said, is like the dramatic timing of Bo Burnham getting the text, and then you hear the sirens. I'm like, okay.
One text at a time, sirens show up, and Melina's getting the video at the same time.
She's getting, here it is. I'm going to explain it.
I love the idea that Alpha Verlina had to set up a bunch of that to happen.
Oh, sure.
Like he knows how to send scheduled text messages.
No, there's a plant at the wedding. That's my headcanon. There's a plant at the wedding.
I truly believe that the cops would show up to that wedding, like right at that time. But my question is, do scheduled text messages usually tell you that they're a scheduled text message? Because anybody else notice that?
I have no idea. I've never seen a scheduled text message, so
I think that's another like little story, like a visual shortcut.
Okay.
I mean, it would have been great if they would have cut to Alfred Molina and he was like on the phone sending those texts.
Typing the winky
what
emoji.
I assumed, yeah.
With a lollipop.
Seeing Alfred Molina type a winky face and sending it to Bo Burnham.
I'm going to find out how to do scheduled texts and just send one to DC like every morning.
I did that for my buddy Hauser. I don't think it's come into play yet, but like when we were roommates back in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
No, before that, I set up a reminder for like 10 years from that date to text him because it was through iCloud. So as long as he still had an iPhone.
10 years?
It was like I scheduled a text for like 10 years from now, and I don't even remember what the text said.
Oh no.
But you might be getting a text.
I'm going to set up a text to you like every morning, like 8 a.m. like Pacific time. That's like, morning, bitch. Time to suck today's dick.
That would be welcome, actually. I would love waking up to that every morning.
Oh, well. As soon as I figure out how to... I'm going to call Alfred Molina, figure out how to do it.
I want to talk about just little things that I noted, unless you guys have other topics you want to cover. But
I think my other things were just I really loved the cinematography. I thought that the color palette and the lighting could have read really like mainstream movie, but instead it comes off as like a, you know, dramatic and artistic.
Yeah.
That pharmacy scene looks awesome.
The pharmacy scene looks so cool. Even the opening sequence where, you know, it's men shot through the male gaze. It's still not even a female gaze. It's still a male gaze, but it shows how, you know, this like meat market style footage. I thought that was really well done.
I love in the pharmacy scene, whenever you do see the folks in the background, they're not impressed with this. Like they're
all annoyed.
That was one of my notes. Like they're just like, God damn it, another fucking flash mob.
Yeah, like it sucks that this. Yeah, it's like it's James Corden and like the cast of Cinderella in LA.
Fuck. So glad I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, I love that a bit of detail. I love. There's little moments that are just so affecting and like really endear you to the characters. Molly Shannon is incredible. Like makes such a huge impact. And then like little bits like Clancy Brown being so proud of himself for making the sauce, like for the spaghetti, like all of those, all the dialogue in that scene felt so honest. And I don't know. I love the little character interactions like that.
I thought the conversation that the guys were having at the club in the opening scene was absolutely insane because they're talking about, I guess, a coworker of theirs that got mad that she couldn't come to like, why are they taking clients out to a golf club? Right. And I think it's Sam Richardson that says, well, golf clubs don't let women play. I'm like, fucking what? Excuse me?
Yeah. That was a that's like a cartoon version of like.
I'm going to say, I wish it were a cartoon version. I've heard I've been present and I have had to sit through conversations like that at work before.
Oh my God.
Golf clubs don't let women play?
Yeah,
what?
there are golf clubs that don't let Jews and black people
I guess that's
in.
true.
Jesus Christ.
I guess that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Women in, that's not, that's not the part that's unbelievable.
And that's why I don't fucking golf.
Right.
we're boycotting.
Like, Dustin, you're moving back to the South where, like, that kind of shit happens.
Oh my God, I forgot that's a thing.
That is that is not the part that is like not surprising.
No,
all of that, the
but
rest
I
of that
just-
conversation, I have been in business settings where I am the only woman in the room, and those are the conversations that are happening around me, and I just have to sit there and pretend to be cool with it, because if I say something, then
God bless you.
Yeah.
if you're not, then it's like, well, she can't take a joke or she can't hang. She's just not, she's got to like lighten up.
That is fucking miserable.
Yeah, office culture is garbage. It's all garbage. Just throw it in the garbage bin.
Office culture.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things I think you should leave picked up on, because God, it's all terrible.
I mean, but so much of
hate
the
that
conversations that so many of the conversations that the men have, like it's not specific to this time period. Like, this is the way it's always been.
Right.
It's so gross.
Freud said it. Freud said it. When men want to have sex with women and they know that the women are going to reject them, they preemptively criticize them and make fun of them.
Oof.
That is such a weird biological fucking response. I don't know.
And then next to those douchebags at the bar, you have me, DC, and Nathan talking about Dustin's new backpack he bought on HotTopic.com.
Most definitely.
You got no. If it was me in the bar, I'm already dissociating because
Yeah, I
I
hate
fucking
club culture.
hate crowds. Like, if I was in any club, I'm looking at one light, holding my drink that I've had for like 2 hours.
I'm with you, Nathan.
Nathan, you are living through the best time for you then.
Well, Nathan, I was just inserting you into an actual thing that happened. Because last time I hung out with Dustin, it was me, him, in a bar talking about his backpack he bought at Hot Topic.
Oh, that's adorable.
Did it have a lot of pockets?
No.
It was the Shining backpack.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm just sitting there watching, like, waiting for my turn at karaoke.
Yeah. In fact, when Mally was here last in LA, like, I was at the bar, but as soon as I got there, I'm like, let's be wallflowers. Let's go play pool and get the fuck out of this area of like
That's
other
cute.
people. I can't stand club culture. I don't want to be shoulder to shoulder with people.
Nah.
Specifically, why I went to the bar we were at. I was literally asking people, like, what's a quiet bar where I don't have to see other people? I can't stand it. So I'm right there with you.
To see other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's really the bulk of the stuff I had to talk about. We didn't really get to talk about it too much, but I think Carey Mulligan's amazing in this movie. I think
She's excellent.
She nails this character. Like, I don't know, it's so... When she's with Alfred Molina and she's caught off guard by him being remorseful, every time he makes any kind of sudden movement and she flinches, I'm like, it's fucking great.
This is our third film on the podcast with her, I think.
With Carey Mulligan?
Yeah. Wait, have we talked? Did we do Drive?
You did Drive?
Oh.
Are you sure?
We didn't do Drive.
Oh.
I just assumed we did Drive.
Maybe you're thinking of Michelle Williams and Blue Valentine.
You're thinking of Michelle Williams.
Fuck.
I do that all the time. I'm so glad it's not me. It's not just me.
No, wait. Carey Mulligan's in Drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She is in Drive, but we have not covered Drive.
Got it. I just assumed we talked about Drive.
Is Carey Mulligan in something else we've done?
Shame.
Shame, yes.
Did you do An Education?
No.
Love that movie.
You guys should do An Education.
She's excellent in that too.
I think I just assumed we had done Drive.
I thought we had done it too, but no, we have not.
Oh, fuck me.
We've done Only God Forgives, but not Drive.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe that's what you're thinking of.
God, I get my Ryan Gosling doesn't talk in movies films confused sometimes.
I think Wet Dreams is a great band name.
Yes.
Of course you do.
When Carey Mulligan looks at the dean and says she's kind of an idiot, I thought that was kind of funny. Because that poor girl. I mean, I do like to think, I would like to see a shot, we could do a cutaway, and it is that little girl just sitting in a diner by herself, just waiting. It's like Huel in Breaking Bad when they just leave him there. I thought that would have been funny.
That is a moment where I have fully... I'm so confused about why she doesn't get the police called on her.
I was gonna say,
more than anyone at any other time in the movie.
There are so many. That's not where it's like Connie Britton knows who she is. She's not like some anonymous random girl.
Yeah.
Right.
When you were talking about like how everything has to line up like Silva, I'm like, yeah, what would happen if Connie Britton would have just picked up the phone and called security right then? Like,
or if the guy, I mean, like my girlfriend was very like into this movie, and there was a couple of moments where she said like, oh, like I think, as we're talking about how like this cartoonish things that seem cartoonish but are also very accurate, she said like the one thing that didn't work for her was like there's there's no universe in which she attacks that guy's truck and doesn't get hurt.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, he would have got out of that truck immediately, for sure.
Especially in fucking Ohio.
Yeah.
This movie taking place in Ohio changes a lot of things.
There's a few moments where I'm like, she somehow has armor until she doesn't, you know, and that's another thing that kind of like, you know, gave me an uncertainty about what I was watching.
Yeah, I do think it's also impressive that they don't actually use the word rape at all.
True.
And I don't even think they use the word sexual assault either.
They don't. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
They just say what happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You remember what happened.
It's really, really well executed. I think I'm right there with you, Nathan. I feel like there are parts of this movie that are brilliant. Other parts where, like the guy driving away, it's like, that's not really how that would line up.
Mhm.
But then I gotta ask too, like, if it didn't end this way with her being suffocated, like what other ending would there possibly be for this character? Because originally she was going to just kind of walk away, like after the bachelor party and like smoking a cigarette, like job well done. And I'm
with
like,
a really nice away suitcase.
yes,
Right.
Oh, the suitcase is a birthday present. How fucking that's embarrassing. But like, what other ending could there have been for this character, I guess, is my question. I don't know.
I mean, this movie is a full-on tragedy.
Yes.
Like there's no other way for it to
I
end.
agree.
As someone who just rewatched all of Revenge
Oh, sure.
during the quarantine,
Oh, God.
turns out the only way that these stories can end is poorly.
Right.
No. Alternate ending.
Oh boy.
All right. She doesn't get suffocated.
Uh-huh.
She walks away, smoking a cig, into the driveway. You hear tires squealing. Who rolls up?
Dominic
Toretto.
Toretto.
Yeah. Knew that was coming.
You got a family now. Drives off into the
I'm
sunset.
surprised you didn't go with she leaves the bachelor party. She goes to like sit on a swing set at a playground, and then two women come up and they say, "Hey, we're gonna go fuck with Keanu Reeves. You want to join us?" Because she seems like she'd fit right in with the Knock Knock uniform.
I watched that movie.
Knock
I know you
Knock
would.
universe, The Wicker Man, many a universe where
Oh my goodness.
women give men what they deserve.
There you go.
I'm waiting for the promising young Wicker Man movie. I'm so down for that.
No, she should go. She should go to Midsummer. Just like go live in there.
The thing that's crazy about that Wicker Man remake is that it's like the only person who doesn't realize Nicolas Cage is the villain is the screenwriter and director.
Oh yeah, see
Yep.
past episode Wicker Man. We definitely had a great time talking about that.
We discussed that one.
But no, it is weird how much I'm just now realizing this movie is similar to Knock Knock. That is insane.
Still have not seen that.
You're fine.
Oh, buddy.
Question: do feminists are they more likely to do anal? I thought that was
Jesus.
a very weird.
What the fuck?
Alison Brie says that
Yeah.
when she's at the dinner, at the dinner scene.
Oh, she does. That is a line of dialogue in this
That is
movie.
not just a question, Jenny, that I'm just thinking about right now. That is in the movie. I don't know. I just thought it was a funny little moment in that scene. I was like, okay, that's weird. Keep going. Yeah, I don't really have any other notes, I guess. Mally, since this is your pick, do you want to recap what exactly happens at the ending of this movie?
Okay, so she's walking at the end of the driveway in the distance, squealing tires. And then you're really just going to let me keep going with this, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay, got it. She does not drive. In an alternate universe, she does drive away with Dom Toretto, but that does not happen. So her plan kind of fails, and she does get suffocated to death. And then Max Greenfield and fucking Al burn her body, which this is the second episode of the season where I'm going to call bullshit
I thought about you
on
for
a
this,
body burning that quickly and efficiently.
Yep.
Not fucking happening.
Well, also, what a great way to drive a lot of attention to you with all the smoke in the air and everything.
Yeah.
But anyways, continue.
And then, it seems like, everyone got away with it. But then at the fucking wedding, goddamn dramatic texts and police sirens and just a fantastic needle drop, I might add. A fantastic one. Such a good song. And then Al gets arrested for her murder. And Max Greenfield runs away.
With no resistance. Like, he just goes right along with it.
Yep.
As he good.
Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting because of all the crying and everything he did up to that point.
Right.
Yeah, but he sucked.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think he knew he was not getting away with that.
It is weird that it does turn into such a, like, Weekend at Bernie's comedy kind of at the end here, but it's like
Weekend at Bernie's?
well, like just a dead body. We got to do something with it. I do like his performance when Schmidt comes in is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like I did get laughs out, and I'm like, I should not be laughing at this.
Oh, when he's crying, he's like, "Am I gonna go to jail?"
Yeah,
Right.
But, oh, he puts on such a good fucking baby face.
He's such a shithead.
Yes.
Like even the night before when he goes up to the room with her
Mhm.
and when he thinks she's just a stripper, he like claims like, "Oh, I'm a gentleman."
Right.
But he lets her go upstairs for the dance. He
Right.
lets her handcuff him to the bed when
Yep.
she's like, "Oh, it's for my own." Like all she said was, "I need to take you upstairs."
Yep.
Right.
They could have just sat there, but he let her handcuff him,
Yep.
undress him, etc.
Mhm.
All of those things.
He was convincing himself that what he was doing was good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I like to your point about Max Greenfield, like he's playing these scenes like he's in The Hangover 4.
Yes.
It's so strange, and I think that that's the key to Chris Lowell in that role is that it's just like he is playing it as though he believes everything he's saying.
Yeah.
Which is somehow even more upsetting.
And then Max Greenfield at the wedding has that fucking Cirque du Soleil line.
Oh god.
Oh my God.
So cringe.
Hearing Schmidt say something like that is so upsetting.
Dude, if I was at a wedding and some guy walked up to me and said that, I think I would barf.
Deck him.
It would just be so gross.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He
Right.
did.
Because he's also a shitty person.
Yeah. Bo Burnham's response though was kind of funny.
Even the way Max Greenfield opens that door is shitty.
Yeah.
Like he like somehow like with his whole body.
Yes.
How do you open doors, Nathan?
I don't. I walk right through them.
He just straight up Jason's it.
Oh, okay. You James Bond.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, he goes through the drywall, yeah.
That's right.
Nathan, never come to my house. Actually, no. Nathan, do, because my walls are concrete.
Okay.
I want to see what happens.
I do have a question though. Did it seem out of line that Al immediately recognized the name Nina Fisher? Because everyone else in the movie, they're like, who? I don't really remember who you're talking about.
I don't think so. I think that's also I think that's a deliberate choice.
I mean, of
Yeah.
course he
Like
did. She accused him. They had to go to court. He had to hire a lawyer who
Mhm.
had to like smear her name.
I guess that's true. I don't know.
It was only 5 years ago.
I guess
Mhm.
that's true. I don't know. I just the way they play most of these male characters in this movie, it's like they don't remember. Like,
oblivious.
yeah, very oblivious and have short-term memories.
Right.
Yeah, but those men, like the other dudes, they weren't named. They weren't
That's
He's the only
true.
guy who was named.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
Like, because it seems like Carey Mulligan didn't even realize all those other guys were there until that video surfaced.
Right.
Oh, I'm so glad we didn't have to see the video. Oh,
Right.
thank God. One of the few instances where tell, don't show is really beneficial. Yeah, I can see where people would have trouble with this movie because, like you said, Jenny, it is a very uncomfortable mirror to look into. But at the same time, I do think there are justifiable criticisms for some of the, like Nathan said, like the dialogue or like the tonal shifts. And it is one of these movies where, like, you say you don't enjoy it or you didn't really like it, that people immediately lead to you like, oh, that means you must be on the side of the guys or whatever. You know, it is a minefield you kind of have to play with this movie, which I don't think is the intention. I think the director is, I mean, it's a comedy. It's a comedy. It's a tragedy told through a comedic tone.
Right.
And I think the movie is supposed to be entertaining. I mean, that's what most movies are supposed to do, is entertain you. This one's just also trying to make a point and teach a lesson at the same time. So
And I do think it does, and that's another reason why I think it is worth. I'm skipping ahead, but I think it's worth a watch and a rewatch.
Sure.
Like I want to engage with this movie on its own terms now that I kind of get what know what it's doing. You know?
No, I agree. I will say I recommend this movie too, and I think recommending it 2 times, like watch it once, and then now that you know what it's about. I mean, by the time you listen to this, you've already
just like Tenet,
which I also haven't seen.
No, we're not. No, you do not need to watch Tenet more than once. It makes sense the first time you watch it.
Does it?
It does. It absolutely makes
I
sense.
know, but it's so good the second time, Jen.
Is it?
Yes.
No.
It wasn't really that great the first time, but anyway, we're getting
Fucking over.
You guys are gonna hate my pick-me-up film.
Oh my god, I forgot about that part. Damn it.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before we get into the wrap up segments here that we forgot to talk about?
Nah, let's jump into it, bud.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, let's get into one of my favorite segments of the show, because it's a fantasy that I like to have, but a prop to take from this movie, Prop Cop. So this movie doesn't have a whole lot of props.
Right.
Lots of wardrobe outfits for you to choose from, Allie, but Jenny, you're our guest. Is there a single prop, or I guess we can expand that to set decoration, wardrobe, anything that you think would be fun to own for your collection?
I really like the wig she wears at the end, even though I know that is part of hair and makeup.
Yes.
Oh, that works.
Oh, God damn it. You're taking the rainbow wig?
I'm taking rainbow
Fuck,
wig.
that was mine.
Hell yeah.
I'm changing mine.
The nurse's outfit one, right? The blue with the different colors through it.
Yeah, rainbow wig.
Yeah. All right.
That was literally mine.
Well, Molly, why you think of another one, Nathan?
I could pull that shit off.
Nathan, do you have one?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, I'm totally cheating here, but I want the all pink living room.
I don't think I could get comfortable in a room like that. I feel like it would constantly be shifting.
I feel sorry for you.
All right, I got a new one.
Okay.
I don't know if this counts, but I'm going for the pasta sauce.
Pasta sauce.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like small like tangible things, but I think I want the hotel room key that Carey Mulligan gives that random dude that's just there.
No, I don't think that's a random dude. I'm pretty like he was set up to be there.
No, I know that, but it is just like some guy that we don't ever see from before or after.
She went to the Shady Dude store, got him and the guy outside Alfred Molina's place.
I guess. Well, speaking of shady dudes, we could jump into bit part because there's mostly the minor roles are shady dudes in this movie.
I don't know this question. I don't think we've done this on other books.
Yeah, you weren't on the show, I don't think, when we first did this. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is
I'm not
So
familiar
is
with
there
this.
a small like background character, just a small character you would like to play the role of?
Mhm.
What? No.
Okay,
Incredible.
well, I'm gonna go with I would like to be the waiter that brings the champagne.
Okay. All right, that's a good one. Nathan, what about you?
I want to be the guy waiting outside Alfred Molina's
Damn
house.
it.
Nice.
Damn it. Okay, well then I'm picking between two.
I don't understand the assignment.
So basically, it's just like if there's like an extra, like a featured extra, or just a background character that you think I want to be in this scene in this movie, just so I could say I'm in it. Like
you could be one of the people not enthused about the flash mob in the
Yes.
pharmacy.
No.
That was one of my other choices.
That was my second too.
you could be the dean's assistant that just has to sit there at the desk and hear her yelling through the walls at Carey Mulligan.
Oh yeah.
I think my deep discomfort with being in front of a camera really precludes the entire question.
Oh, fair enough.
Hey, that's fair. I took a character that is not on screen in Freddy vs. Jason, so don't feel bad.
There you go.
I'm struggling between two because I kind of want to be the guy that Ryan jokes about having leukemia in the window.
Oh, sure.
that
Jeez.
I considered that one.
But also, I don't know if you guys noticed, in the scene where the guy that gets his windshield bashed in, there's another car at the intersection just watching. I kind of want to be the dude in that car. I think that would be fun.
Nice.
So yeah, that's all the little extra stuff. My only bit of trivia that I thought was interesting, because suffocation in movies is not a new thing, but this one seems to go on for a very long time, like the wonder of Carey Mulligan getting suffocated. So apparently,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, the director reached out to, I guess her father-in-law was a police officer, and she's like, how long would it realistically take to smother someone to death? And he said 2.5 minutes. And so that scene goes on for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oof.
That just seems so long.
I hate that.
Right.
That's the opposite of a fun fact.
Oh, I didn't say it was a fun fact. I just said it was a bit of
It is a fact.
It's a fact. Yeah, it's not very fun. But that just seems like so long.
Right.
I mean, drowning is a lot quick. Oh, I guess smothering with a pillow. Yeah, never mind. So yeah, let's get into the whole reason we're here. I feel like it's going to be kind of difficult, but let's get into the silver lining of Promising Young Woman.
Oh, I got mine locked and loaded, but I would like to go last.
I have a feeling I know why you want to go last, but Nathan, do you have one?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Molina getting a chance to do something right.
Damn it! That's two things you've taken from me from this fucking episode.
Yeah.
God damn
That's
it!
a good one. I love that.
All right, Jenny, do you have one?
Obviously, like, they got arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yes, the plan worked.
Yeah. And I guess like a darker silver lining would be like she and Nina get to be reunited.
Oof, that is a dark silver lining, but I guess an uplifting one in the sense that this character was ultimately headed.
Call that a gray lining.
Yeah, ultimately headed down this road anyway. Mally, what about you?
Mine originally was Alfred Molina can sleep again, but due to things that came to light in this episode, I changed it to she might be dead, but at least she's not in fucking Ohio
Right.
anymore.
Oh my god.
That's good.
This is a season of anti-Ohio speech. Something about Ohio really triggered people this season. Actually, I guess my only silver lining is that dude does not have leukemia, and that it was just
That's
a
good.
joke. That's all I
That's
can think of.
It was the fucking kid. The kid doesn't have leukemia.
Another one is that like her parents finally get to like move on with their life.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Molly
Yeah.
Shannon is like well adjusted.
Sure.
Yeah, but they're still in Ohio.
Well, they don't have to stay in Ohio anymore. They can sell that house and move because they don't have her dragging
They
them down
haven't changed
anymore.
their furniture since 1974.
They can burn the house down, take the money,
Oh my god.
go make a new life somewhere else.
Okay. It's a very interesting sequel idea.
Well, as we know, people do not respond to fires in Ohio, so that plan might work.
Sure. Well, what about a pick-me-up alternative, a double feature? Mal, you kind of hinted at one. Is that what you're going with?
Yes. I'm gonna go with another Alison Brie film where she plays a mother of twins.
Okay.
Happiest Season.
I noticed that trivia too.
What movie is that?
That was the one Mackenzie Davis, Kristen Stewart came out last year.
Oof.
Oh, I never saw it.
It's about lesbians at Christmas.
No, yeah, I just never got around to it,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
which is wild.
I enjoyed it.
Nathan?
If you want to watch a woman beat up more guys very stylishly, Atomic Blonde, starring
Yeah.
Charlize Theron.
Hell yeah.
That's a great
That's
movie.
a good one. Similar color palette.
Yeah.
Alexa, turn on Atomic Blonde.
Sorry. All of the
Audience,
lights-
there is my
all of the
lights have a program setting called Atomic Blonde where they turn
Oh,
all like
no.
pink,
Great.
blue, and orange.
That's amazing.
Jenny was not ready.
My pick me up is Jesus Christ, Jenny's having a meltdown. I struggled with two. I wanted to say Drive because that seemed like the obvious one, but there's actually a Carey Mulligan movie that came out earlier this year that I feel like not a lot of people got to see or didn't even really know came out. But she stars in a movie with Ray Fiennes called The Dig.
Oh.
Which is actually a very interesting movie. It's a woman that hires an excavator who's Ray Fiennes to come in because she thinks that her property, there's something buried underneath the property. It turns out to be like this Viking ship, and it's about like dealing with the bureaucracies of that. Because I think it's in World War I time, if I'm not mistaken.
Weird.
But it's a very interesting movie, and Carey Mulligan is great in that too. So
Interesting.
And it's a pick me up?
yeah, because it is a very heartwarming movie when it's all said and done.
Okay.
Yeah, it also has what's her name? The girl from Baby Driver.
Lily James?
Yes, and she's fucking great.
I love Lily James.
She's great in it.
Yeah, she's always good. Yeah.
She plays like a archaeologist, and she's great.
Oh, cool.
Wait, was she the lead in Baby Drive? The blonde girl?
Yeah.
She was. Yeah, she was.
She has a new show.
It's so bad.
Oh, never mind.
She's gonna be Pamela Anderson.
That's not what I was thinking. Yeah, but yes, that looks good.
Is she playing Pam Anderson in that
She
thing with
is.
Sebastian Stan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
She's also in
no.
Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again as young Meryl Streep.
She's really good in
also
Yesterday.
Cinderella in the Kenneth Branagh version of
Was
Cinderella.
Yesterday good, Nathan?
No,
Yeah.
It's
Copy.
I had a feeling that was about it.
it doesn't follow its own internal logic, but it's very sweet.
Ah.
Okay.
Gotcha. Copy that.
She was also in Rebecca, the bad remake of Rebecca.
Right.
The one that came out and they're like, this is not a remake of the Hitchcock Rebecca, and it's like, okay.
But it's like definitely a bad remake of it.
Right.
Jenny, do you have a pick me up or like a double feature for this movie?
I do. Another good female revenge movie that is much, much lighter, which
okay.
would be John Tucker Must Die.
Oh, great choice.
Oh, shit.
That is a good choice.
Okay.
People forget about that one.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
That's a fun one. That was a regular weekend watch at my women's college.
Hell yeah.
All right. I think I know the answer, and we've already said our piece on it, but we all recommend this movie, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, it may not everyone might vibe to it, but I think it's worth a watch and then maybe a rewatch, maybe do some reading on it. Like I think this is a movie that's like worth a debate.
Yes.
Nathan, it's fine if you don't like it. I'm sorry. You don't know me and you don't know that I give people a hard time. It's fine.
No, I do want to say, like, I I took completely. You're fine. Like I've personally had a very rough week, and I don't mean to be like on the defensive. I like you said, like
and this is probably not a great movie to watch at the end of a bad week necessarily.
Right. Don't worry, Jenny. I assure you, Nathan's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
I'm a really nice guy.
He's a nice guy, but not in the way that like the guys in this movie say they're nice guys.
If I put up with all of the shit Mally talks, like I promise I'm fine.
Yeah.
I guess I am used to shit talking Mally, and then it's just okay.
You're fine. I do apologize for being like getting
fine.
like I was a little taken back, but it's all good.
Nathan was not ready.
No,
I didn't scream Wizard Hitler. So
yeah, that's a win. That is a win.
I was trying to find a time to do it, but I just couldn't.
I know the perfect time for you to do it.
Yeah, like you want it to come up organically,
Right.
you know?
No, I know the perfect time to do it, but we'll get there when we get there.
Wait, what?
You'll see. But to also piggyback off of that point, it's okay to not like this movie. That is totally fine, and you don't have to have a justification for why you don't like it, listener. If you don't like it, that's fine. Don't get into the bear trap of getting into an argument with somebody about it. It's fine.
Unless your justification is that it's unrealistic, or that like not all. If your justification is not all men, that's not a good reason.
That's not an argument.
There you go. That's a perfect way to summarize this. And you know what? I'm glad we got to talk about this movie, and I'm going to be even more happy that we can talk about just an absolute dumb movie next week, so we don't have to get into this serious conversation. So, Nathan, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but this is the perfect segue. Can you please give us a clue for what we're talking about next week?
Sure. Next week, you don't have to be beautiful to watch next week's movie.
Oh, okay.
I love that I don't look at the schedule ahead of time because I have no idea what next week's movie is.
Yeah, Bally's always surprised.
The group chat is like, after we finish recording, the first text is always, what
So
are we doing next week?
Right. Listener, I'm sure you probably have a lot of thoughts about this movie if you made it this far, and we want to hear them. So send your feedback in to the Silver Linings Playlist at gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. And if it's good feedback, we'll read it on the air. So feel free to do that.
If it's bad feedback, we ignore it.
We throw it right in the trash can. So keep your incel comments to yourself for this movie.
I give Mally feedback all the time. You never read it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Actually, wait a minute. Were you one of the people that said you hated the trailer section? Because Mally was a staunch, like...
No.
Okay. I had a feeling. But yes, if you haven't already, please, we ask that you subscribe, rate, and leave feedback, and follow us on social media and over on our subreddit at reddit.com/silverliningsplaylist. Guys and lady, that's all I have for this week. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we get out of here?
My last thing would just be, if you're listening to this and you feel triggered by it, the National Sexual Assault Hotline number is 1-800-656-4673.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good point, and I will put that in the show notes as well. I guess we probably should have put a trigger warning up at the front of this, but I feel like most people know what this movie is, or at least know somewhat about it, so maybe that's... Yeah. So, without further ado, rest in peace, Oatmeal. And, as always...
Oh my God, wait.
Oh yeah, Jenny wasn't here for that. Sorry. No, my rabbit died earlier this season.
No, I remember I remember earlier this season where he was dying.
Yeah, that was... Rest in peace, little buddy.
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I've finally come to terms with it. I mean, I was really broken up for a while, but it's okay. He lived a good life while we had him. I know that for sure. He was very happy.
Yeah, we did a whole episode where it was me and Nathan talking, and then DC just like cried a little.
Yeah,
That's okay.
you'd hear a chamber of a revolver slowly spinning, but then I put it down. So
Yeah, he only played like 3 rounds of Russian roulette.
I had to edit out all the little clicks of yeah. Anyways,
Oh my God.
yes, rest in peace, little buddy. And as always, Wizard Hitler.
Okay, is everyone ready?
So mysterious. There'll be food and drink and ghosts.
Welcome to the thriller.
Oh, that's really good. That was really good.
Vincent Price is the only impression I can do.
Oh, man.
All right, ready for the count?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Excelsior!
Excelsior!
Excelsior! Look it up.
Jesus Christ, that was a long one. Anyway, if you're still here, thanks for listening. And remember, you can always check out our back catalog for over 100 episodes of the show. Like, subscribe, and leave feedback if you want. And tune in next week for another one. Laters!